Hey everyone, I'd like to welcome y'all again to the Southern Dog Men podcast. I know it's been a little bit of a minute. Been out trying to run dogs, trying to get some work done. It's been super dry here in Georgia also, so haven't been getting out too much. Haven't had a chance to sit down and really talk to anybody. Competition season is in full swing. Most states are already out hunting, so I know a lot of guys are super busy running dogs and everything right now. But tonight I have Mr. Daniel Gray. He is administrative sergeant for the northwest section of Georgia for the DNR. He was actually out in the field. I guess you would call it patrolling, correct, Daniel?
Yes.
Yeah, he is out patrolling for the past 20 years, but he just took him an administrative job. We've actually been able to reel him in tonight. Sit down. We're going to pick his brain a little bit about the DNR and what these WMAs can provide to some of us squirrel hunters, some of the rules and regulations we need to go over. Uh, we're going to pick his brain a little bit for a little while. Buddy, we appreciate you jumping on here tonight with us.
Well, thanks so much. I appreciate you having me on.
I know we've been trying to line this thing up, what feels like 2 or 3 months now, ever since I started this thing. I'm glad we're actually able to get on here and chat for a little while.
Oh yeah, me too. Between work and running dogs, it's just stay and the family stays busy.
Oh, yeah, I understand that. So tell us a little about what you've been doing. Like I said, you was in the field for 20 years. Now you've moved up into the administrative office, correct? What all you still doing, buddy?
That's right. So when I was in the field as a game warden, I was the county ranger, is what we called them at the time. It's county game warden down in Haralson County. And then I've worked the last 2 years up in Floyd County, up around the Rome area.
Okay.
And then recently I took my promotion in the field, but just as a game warden, it's a really neat job. A lot more to it than just hunting and fishing. We do all sorts of kind of great things. We do educational programs for kids. We do boating, hunting, fishing, trapping, just all sorts of kind of really neat things
Now,
for
is
the
it
outdoor.
is this something you wanted to do since childhood, or was it something that kind of come about when you were older? I mean, what made you want to get into the line of work?
Well, so all my life, all we ever did growing up was hunting and fish. That's all we did. Deer hunting, turkey hunting, rabbit hunting. When we had quail, we fished all the time. And then when I got in high school, I was trying to figure out exactly what I wanted to do, and I wanted a career in law enforcement. That's something that just attracted me, but I also just love being in the outdoors. Um, so that was like the perfect career for me. I was have been able to do law enforcement, but I've been able to do conservation law enforcement, for the state of Georgia. So it's just been a lot of fun. I got to do for 20 years. I've got to do what I love.
That's a good way to stay in it, especially if you're growing up and you wanting to get into the law enforcement, but you still want to stay out with the hunting and fishing part of it. That's a good thing to do. Kind of go into detail what it would take for somebody to move in, I guess, to that field. If I'm not mistaken, you've got to have a college degree to get on with the DNR, correct?
Well, for all these years, yes, you have. They just changed it this year.
Okay.
Um, so now you can get hired on without a college degree, but before you get promoted, you have to have that degree. And then just tell you super quick about our hiring process. I mean, we're looking for great guys and gals to come be game wardens with the state of Georgia. You got to be 21 years old, and just kind of give you the quick about our hiring process. Pass a background check, do a physical, do an agility course, be able to swim, pass a polygraph, medical, and then a full interview. So it's a little bit of a process. Normally, from the time you put your application in to the time you get hired, you're looking at somewhere around probably 6 months.
Oh, wow. Okay. I know back when I was in high school, I'd kind of thought about jumping into the DNR stuff, but I wasn't going to go to college. So that kind of put me out on it, is what held me back.
I got you. And yeah, I actually went down to ABAC, Abraham Baldwin Agricultural College, which is down in Tifton.
Mm-hmm.
I got a degree in wildlife.
There you go. Now, has that degree been able to help you any? with your job or anything like that? Maybe deer studying or anything?
It has. It's been huge. We learned how to age deer. We learned about um, tons of different, as far as a game warden, whenever we're working waterfowl hunting.
Mm-hmm.
Knowing when I was in college, we learned the different species of ducks. It just teaches you so much about the wildlife that you're conserving out there as a game warden, how to tell the difference between the male and the female, and just be able to identify all the different animals that we run into on a daily or weekly basis as a game warden.
I understand that. Uh, Talking about, I guess, kind of the biology and everything. I know we had a conversation here on the phone, I don't know, last week, 2 weeks ago, and we were talking about the guys down in Mississippi. They'll go out, hammer squirrels, and you were kind of telling people, if we have a good day, we might kill 6 or 7 squirrels.
Right.
And we kind of talked about what could be causing that, if it's our landscape, if it's the timber companies. You want to jump into that a little bit?
Sure. Well, of course, when you get out to Mississippi, and I'm by no means a wildlife biologist, but when you get out to Mississippi, what I have seen with my own eyes is you get out there and they have a tremendous amount of acorn trees. So that's one of like I do. If you hunt around a tremendous amount of acorn trees, we're gonna find squirrels.
Mm-hmm.
And so they have a lot of land out there too that hasn't been harvested, or the timber cut like we have here in especially North Georgia, where we've had a lot of our big hardwoods being cut and pines replanted. And a lot of our pines now, when they're replanted, you know, from 20 to 30 years, they're ready to be cut again. So you don't have that. Our woods here don't have that capability of having those big mature hardwoods in it like they might somewhere else. So that's just what I believe is one of the causes that I've seen in the last 30 years to not seeing quite as many squirrels as we did when I was growing up.
Okay. Is there anything we could do on our part to possibly help that other than quit cutting timber?
Well, I mean, timber is an important industry for our state, and of course, um, timber is important right now. You see lots of stuff on TV about uh, them building houses, needing more houses. I understand the importance of it, but as a if you have a piece of property and you're managing wildlife, maybe talk to a biologist and figure out what's a good happy medium. What can you do to be able to harvest your timber but still have a good wildlife population at the same time? Because if you can get with a biologist and get that ecosystem right, you're able to have all that at one time.
Mm-hmm. I feel like a lot of these private landowners, when they bring a biologist out, they're usually studying for the deer and the turkey, which that could be a possibility because I feel like there may not be a lot of small game hunters in Georgia. I could be totally wrong. You being DNR, I'm sure you're seeing it a lot more. But when I go out on my local WMA in a season, I may run into 10 other people that's running dogs for squirrels. I'm just not seeing a lot of it. It could be the area. It might just be that there's not a whole lot of us out there. But I want to try to grow the sport. We have some great WMAs to be able to hunt too, from North Georgia all the way to South Georgia. I mean, you go to North Georgia, you got the gray squirrels. You go far enough south, you can run into some fox squirrels. I feel like a lot of people don't know that. If they do, it's kind of a secret.
Right. Yeah, and as a game warden, getting out checking hunting license on our WMAs. Of course, if we have a managed hunt going on, I may check several hundred people as opposed to a weekend where we don't, and it's only open for small game. I may not check 3 or 4. So I'm not sure exactly what our license sales are for, let's just say, for someone deer hunting versus small game. But it seems like what I see when I was working in the field is that you do see more deer hunters or turkey hunters than you do small game. But we have some great WMAs. I mean, we're blessed up here.
Mm-hmm.
We have Paulding Forest Wildlife Management Area that is in Paulding and Polk County that has over 30,000 acres. We have Sheffield WMA, which borders it, which is in Polk and Paulding. It's Lord, I think now it's around 5,000 acres. We have Berry College, which is a great WMA with about 12,000 acres. And, you get up in the Cohuttas. I mean, you're talking about up there.
Oh, it's
You have,
vast.
oh, it is. You're talking about the whole national forest up there's 90,000 acres. So we're really blessed in our state to have these wildlife management areas that are set aside for us to be able to enjoy.
Well, let's dive into this. Is there, now correct me if I'm wrong, there are a handful of WMAs that are just used for dog training, correct? In the state of Georgia?
So we have a handful that have dog training areas on them.
How would that be? How would that work?
So these areas are like the first one that sticks out is J.L. Lester, which is in Polk County, and there's also one in Paulding. But if there's a dog training area, it's an area set aside for someone to go out there and train their dogs. So most people that use those are the dog training areas. They're actually, most people that we see are either running rabbit dogs or they're actually running dogs to hunt quail. And in these areas, the hunter can come to this area and he can bring his receipt. Let's just say, for an example, he went to a person that raises quail and he bought 12 quail. He can come out to the WMA and he can release his 12 quail there as long as he has his receipt showing where he bought them, and he can actually harvest those.
Wow, I did not know that.
So it's just a unique area that they have just for that. But you can, just because it's a dog training area, if the deer season's in, you can still hunt deer there.
Okay.
It's not just for the dogs.
Yeah, see, I know there's one up, I think it's around like the top side of Lake Lanier. I don't remember the county, but we found it duck hunting one day. We was just riding up the river, and we found it on our maps, and it said dog training. Never really looked any more into it. That was before the squirrel dogs even come along with me. But yeah, I did not know that. Now, are those WMAs, would they be open year-round, or does that species have to be in season for these people to say go in and train their dogs?
Yeah, so the small game hunting on our WMAs is normally coincides with the small game season, which on most WMAs, every WMA is a little bit different. Before you go hunt a WMA, get your hunting reg, turn to the back of it, find the WMA, and most of our WMAs, small game hunting, if you're running dogs, you can normally, like a dog training area is normally around August 15th, I believe it comes in, until March. It's a little different every year. But if you're wanting a small game hunt on the WMA, you just go by the small game date for the state. So most of our small game hunting on our WMA is going to be August 15th to the last day of February.
Okay.
And so now, as an example, we don't have like years ago, we used to have a season for raccoons and possums. Well, that's no longer there. You can actually hunt those year round.
Now, I thought that went for the private lands only, where you could kill them on the private lands year round. But when it came to the WMA, you can't kill year round on the WMA, correct?
That's correct. You can only hunt the raccoon and possum on the WMA from August 15th to the last day of February, unless that WMA has something specified in it. Like an example would be if the wildlife management area is having a managed deer hunt, a quota hunt, there is no other hunting allowed except that. Or they may have a special regulation, let's say similar to Paulding Forest, it says it's a unique one, but in the hunting reg, it says that there is, on the day of their deer hunt, there is no other hunting activity allowed. So some of those have those special regs that you got to make sure that you read.
Yeah. See, that's kind of how Dawson Forest is right up the road from me. They've had 2 quota hunts so far. The first one was their youth rifle season. I'd forgot all about it. Got the dogs loaded up. Got one of my buddies, got me a hired gun, going to come help me train a young dog. Drove all the way over. Every gate had a truck. I'm like, man, this just don't seem right. What do I do? Pull out my regulation book. Boys, they got a quota hunt. We got to go back to the house.
Yes. So I get a lot of people say, man, I didn't get to hunt this weekend because they had a managed hunt going on. And I always say, look, you have it from August 15th to the last day of February.
Let the deer hunters have it.
Yeah, they may only have it those 10 days with those quota hunts. So look at how many more days you get to have it than them.
Mm-hmm. Now, some of these WMAs, they have their quota deer hunts. But some of these WMAs, you can rifle hunt as soon as the rifle season opens. What kind of advice would you give to a Georgia hunter who is close to one of these WMAs, but they are allowed to rifle hunt? What is some of the advice you could give to somebody wanting to get out to say, run a dog on a WMA that they're allowed with the rifles all season?
Yeah, I would say, make sure that you have an orange vest on, just like the deer hunter. It's not going to mess your hunt up having that on. But just have that in there just like your deer hunting. And I've even got a couple of the orange vests that I even put on my dogs.
Yep.
And that way, no one can ever tell me, hey, I thought they know that that's a hunting dog if it's got that on.
Mm-hmm.
I have an orange hat that I wear. And even my vest that I have another vest that's not solid orange, but it's got an orange game bag and the front pockets are orange. So just make sure and have that on. That way you stand out and you can be clearly identified as a hunter.
Okay. Let's bring up this topic. It's happened. We've heard about it happening. God forbid if it ever happens to us, but you're on a WMA, somebody shoots your dog. What do you suggest we should do to go about that kind of a situation?
Well, the first thing you do is, of course, remain calm. And I know that's easier said than done, but that's your first thing. Your next step, you need to get your cell phone out, call 911, and just say, hey, I need to speak with a game warden. And then talk to the game warden and let them come out and do their investigation, check everything out. 911, every 911 in the state of Georgia knows if they get a call requesting a game warden, exactly how to transfer that call to make sure it goes to the right person. But just take those simple steps. Really to me, the main thing is just remain calm and get a game warden on the phone pretty fast.
No, and try not to do anything crazy to stir the situation. Would you suggest that the hunter goes to the scene, or would you suggest that we should, I guess, go to the truck and make the phone call at the truck instead of going to the scene?
Well, I would just go ahead and make it right then, the second that it happened. Sometimes if you're out on the WMA hunting, you may be 20, 30, 40 minutes, an hour from your truck. So just go ahead and make that initial call, because most counties in the state have one game warden. And a lot of times your game wardens are on your wildlife management areas, but they may have a drive. So go ahead and make that call and get them en route to come out and assist you.
Okay.
But I can tell you in my 20 years of doing this, I've actually never had that. I've been very blessed. I've never had that. I've never had that call, never had that incident come up.
I feel like that's one of the I feel like it's one of the biggest fears to us dog men. I feel like the coon hunters don't see it as much, especially on public land. I can understand if the dog gets off, goes on private, somebody shoots it on private. But I feel like 80 to 90% of all squirrel hunters are so worried about it happening, but it may happen, a handful of times a year, if that?
Yeah, I can think of, I've been running dogs for a little bit over 30 years. I can think of it happening probably one time that I know of, to someone that I knew. I've heard stories of it happening, but actually that I know, I can tell you in 30, 31, 32 years of running dogs, I've only known of that happening one time.
Yeah. I think it just stays in the back of guys' minds. They're just so worried about it. But then again, if you're on a WMA, a smart hunter isn't just going to shoot a dog running through the woods.
That's right, because they understand that there are going to be people out there with their dogs that are hunting.
Mm-hmm. See, I've yet to even run in a scenario to where I've ran into anybody bow hunting or rifle hunting or anything. I am blessed to be able to hunt Dawson Forest. 3 rifle hunts a year, and if there's a bow hunter at a gate, I can go 400, 500, 600 yards down the road, and the next gate will be open. Nobody's going to be sitting there.
Yeah, that's exactly, what I do when I'm out running dogs too. If I get up to the WMA and there's a vehicle parked, I'm like you. I'm gonna go half a mile. I'm gonna get away from them and go find a spot that, there's not a hunter there.
Yeah, just try not to disturb anybody. Give everybody their space if you can. That's
Right?
something I suggest to people.
Oh yes, absolutely.
Well, here's a question for you.
Sure.
You run competition hunts. I'm getting into it. Do you remember the phone call I made to you about what I needed to do for my treeing contest?
Uh, you know what? I get so many calls. I'm on bet that you called and asked me, could you use a live coon for a raccoon? Is that the call you?
Let's talk about it.
Yeah. So in the state of Georgia, it's not illegal to hold, or excuse me, it is illegal to hold wildlife. That's what I meant to say. It's not legal for you to hold wildlife unless you have a wildlife rehabilitator's permit. Which so if your club is hosting one of these events like ours, what we use is a lot of times we'll use a skin off a raccoon or a squirrel to use during our treeing contest because it's not legal to have a wild animal in your possession in the state of Georgia unless you're permitted.
See, I don't know how a lot of clubs are, but I'm sure there's some people that are still doing it. But man, when I made that phone call to you, that blew my mind. That was something I didn't understand. I didn't know that. I didn't know that it was a rule. I've always heard of, oh, you find this baby deer, you better not keep it. You can get a ticket and everything for it. But I never knew that with the caged coon for these people that's coming out for the competition hunts and everything.
I got you.
Well, let's dive in what got you into dogs. You said you've been running dogs now, what, 30, 31 years?
Yeah, when I was just thinking the other day, I was somewhere between the age of 11 and 12. We had two barbershops in town, and of course the guys that had the barbershops, they're no longer with us. But the guy that cut my granddaddy's hair, he cut my hair, and his name was T.A. Dempsey. T.A. at the time was a known dog man in Northwest Georgia. He had Walker coonhounds, which I knew nothing about hunting with dogs. But every time I'd get my hair cut and sat in that barber's chair around his whole spot that he had, that you sat in the barber's chair and on his counters, he just had trophy after trophy after trophy. And so, the first few times you go in there, you don't say a whole lot. And as you get to know someone, you talk a little more and more. And he got to tell me that he was big into coon hunting. And I thought that was the neatest thing. Well, one day I went to get my hair cut, and he handed me a full cry, and I didn't even know what full cry was. And I took that home, and I got to reading it, and I was reading articles on squirrel hunting. And there was an article in there about squirrel hunting with rat terriers. And I thought, man, that sounds neat. That sounds like something I want to do. So I went with him a few times coon hunting, and I couldn't ever shake that squirrel hunting with rat terriers. So, at the time we didn't have internet, we didn't have computers. And if people had dogs for sale, they were either in a catalog, a magazine, or in the newspaper. That's the only way you could find a dog for sale. And one week we were looking in the back of the Rome paper and saw a guy that had some rat terriers for sale up in Dalton. Didn't even know anything about them. I just knew I'd seen them in a magazine, and I wanted one. So we drove up there. He had 3 pups, and I picked mine out. And little male, he was solid white with one black spot and a black head. We called him Pat. In today's world, people, if a dog's not progressing, they think, well, this dog's not going to turn out. He may never be a great dog, but Pat was one of the best. I'd say he was probably the second or third best dog we've ever owned. First year we had him, didn't do a whole lot. Second year we had him, he started trailing squirrels, would get them to a tree, whine, jump, have squirrels. We didn't know what we were doing at the time. The third year we had him, he was 3 years old. It finally cooled off, and took him hunting, and that little joker just started. He'd trail one to a tree, and he'd just sit down and just start barking and just tree like an old dog. But it took 3 years to get him to that point, and he was our first dog that we had.
How old were you when when you come across that one and got started, you believe?
I think I was 12.
Okay. So you've been doing it for 12 years. You started with you said it was a Jack Terrier, right?
No, it was a
Rat Terrier.
rat terrier. Yes, and after him, we tried some feist. We never, I don't know, I just never had one that just suited me. And years down the road, we ended up with a little dog that was half cur and half feist. And I would tell you that she's the best dog that we ever had. We kept her till she got really old. She was just so much fun to hunt. She never got over 200 yards, and she was like a little vacuum cleaner.
Just sucking them all up, huh?
She was. It was so much fun. And then, anyway, I got into coon hunting for a little while and did some competition coon hunting. Of course, as you get married and have kids, it just wasn't the thing to do, be out all night long, have to get up and go to work. So got back into squirrel hunting, I guess, back in 2007. Started with the mountain curs. And they were kind of my fix for the hounds. They were bigger dogs. They had a little bit more hunt in them than the rat terrier or the feist had. And that's been my love ever since, is the original mountain curs.
Now, did you automatically jump back into competition hunting when you got the cur dogs, or did you kind of hold off on that and it's progressed into that now, or how did that come about?
Yeah, I held off for a while, and then I met a great guy from Cedartown. His name's Barry Rice. And Barry has, she's actually still alive today. I'd say she's probably 12, 13 years old. Her name is Rice's Mountain Hazel. He placed second in the OMCBA World Hunt with her. And I went with him several times, and this has been 10 years ago. Might have been, yeah, it's been every bit of 10 years. And he bred her one day, and he bred her to a dog that was off a sniper. And he said, man, he called me and he said, I want to give you one of these puppies. He actually, just the best guy you've ever met. He let me come out to the house and he gave me a pick of the litter. And so I picked out the dog that I call Allie now, my Allie dog. And she has absolutely been the best cur that I've ever owned.
And she's little sniper bred, you said?
Yeah, she's off a sniper. Her dad's off a sniper, and her mom's off a tree knocking Mike.
Okay. You still competition hunting her today, or is she kind of just hanging out, pleasure dogging it now, or?
Yeah, I've just pleasure. Last year, I broke her out for a hunt and put her in one of the coon hunts. She's a squirrel dog, but she will tree a coon or possum at night. Allie's a bench champion through OMCBA, and then she's a squirrel champion as well. But she's probably about 8.5 now. So she's just, when you go out with a 1.5 year, 2-year-old dog, and you take your 8, 9-year-old dog, they just don't quite have the stamina those younger dogs do to make it through the hunt all day.
Oh, I understand that 100%, buddy. So I know you're running hunts nowadays, but you're actually over not a coon club, but you're over a squirrel and coon club, correct?
Yeah, so we have a group of us. The name of our club's Treat Mountain Squirrel and Coon Club. There's Kenny Gray, myself, Robert Davis, Wendell Furr, Robert's granddad, Mr. Jack, Mike Dooley. And so we came up with this club, I guess. I guess we started 3 or 4 years ago because we all had the love and the passion for these curs, and then having the hunts. And we thought, well, let's just try to have them around here because we have all these great WMAs to use. So we put our club together. Man, we have great turnouts.
And is that what y'all are mostly hunting is WMAs?
That's it. We hunt some private spots after deer season, but primarily we're hunting either Sheffield WMA, Treat Mountain, Paulding Forest WMA, Tallapoosa, or we're hunting West Point.
Okay. What kind of hunts are y'all hosting? Is it mostly a squirrel club, or are y'all doing Ah,
Yes.
okay.
So with our OMCBA hunts that we do, Original Mountain Cur Breeder Association, we do, if we have that hunt scheduled, we're going to have squirrel hunt in the day. We're going to do bench show, treeing contest, and we're going to do coon hunt at night. Last year we tried USDC hunt, went really good. The guys enjoyed it. So I expect we'll probably try to do another one after the first of the year. And then, I've talked to you with about said UMCA. That's correct, isn't it?
Yes, sir. United Mountain Cur Association.
Yeah. So we've even talked about doing some of those. It's just this year, every one of us have young dogs. We have puppies. I think last year we put on 12 hunts, and we had a great time. But we cut back on the hunts this year just so we had a little bit more time to train these puppies and get them the experience they need.
How many of y'all having this year?
So right now we've only got two scheduled. Our next one is November 16th, which is be a really large hunt. That's the Georgia State hunt, which is a full elimination hunt. For squirrel and coon with OMCBA, we'll have a big treeing contest, bench show. We'll have food. It's just a fun day. If you've never been to one of our hunts, normally we have anywhere from 15 to, for our state hunt, 15 to 20 dogs. Everyone gets along, works together good. I mean, it's a great day.
Okay. And that's over in Buchanan, Georgia, correct?
It is, and I've been sharing it a lot on Facebook, on the I Hunt Original Mountain Cur, and then the OMCBA. I think it's called the official page, and just getting the word out about that. And also, if you go to the Original Mountain Cur Breeder Association OMCBA website, they have it posted for us on there.
Okay. Y'all got some pretty good prizes coming up too for this hunt, correct? I seen some of them knives you got posted on Facebook.
Yeah. Robert Davis, one of our members of our club, he did a great job. He contacted the guy that makes these, and they came up with this design on the knives to give out for first, second, and third place in our squirrel and our coon club. Our coon hunt, excuse me. And we've got leashes to give out. We always do some great prizes.
And see, that's what that's what I feel like these people like to come out. At least have a chance to take something home, but it's also the brotherhood, the good hunting, and just the memories that's able to be made from some of these hunts.
It's the laughs and getting up there and hearing Mr. Jack and Mr. Wendell. They're our two oldest members. I'm going to say that they're both in their 80s. Just sitting back and soaking up their stories on everything that they've done and just listening about their dogs. And just, I don't know, we just have a great time. We have some downtime, and you might go in the building and there may be 15, 20 people sitting around in chairs just telling stories and laughing. I mean, it's just, like you said, it's a brotherhood.
Yeah. Now, let's go back over into the DNR and the WMA side of things. So tell the people about the process of going to get these permits to actually be able to host hunts and everything like that. I had to do it for the first time this year. I was actually able to get all my permits at one time for all three of my hunts. Let's kind of break that process down for somebody who may be wanting to try to hold an OMCBA or USDC or some kind of hunt in the future.
Yeah, so by law, the Georgia DNR, through our state laws, they actually, anytime you host one of these hunts, you're required to get a permit through the state. And the permits are great because, number one, they're free. They don't cost anything to apply for. And it's a simple form that you fill out. It's, about a page and a half, and you just put what counties you're going to be in, what area, what WMAs you want to hunt, how many people you're going to have. And whoever shows up for your hunt, if they're from out of state, they don't even have to buy an out-of-state hunting license. This permit covers their license. So it's just great because we have a lot of states that I go to, example, like Alabama. Every time I go to one of their hunts, I have to buy a license.
Mm-hmm.
But we have 4 or 5 guys that come from Alabama that come to our hunts just because they don't have that added expense of having to get a license because we've got the permits.
And I feel like that's a good thing and kind of draws people to come to Georgia because they ain't got to have the state license. They can just have to worry about, a little bit of groceries, maybe a hotel if they're making a long drive and stuff. They ain't got to worry about getting that small game license, which, correct me if I'm wrong, are you able to get a 1 day non-resident license for small game?
Yeah, you can. But the other side of it is the permit keeps them. It says, hey, you don't have to have a license, but even though these people are coming to our state, they're still buying gas. They're
Yep.
still getting food, hotels, everything that you talked about. So they're still spending money, but they just don't have to buy that license because we have the permit.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, like I said, man, my process was easy. I got in contact with you to really see how I needed to do it, and then called up to our DNR office up here at the WMA. Took me 2 days to get it down. Their biggest issue was, well, how many people do you have coming? Well, ma'am, to be honest, I don't really know. There may be five people show up, or it could be 20 people. I was like, I don't really know.
Yeah.
That was really the only hiccup we had with everything.
Yeah, and that's kind of like our hours. I never hardly have more than 20, so that's my number I put down too.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, it's an easy process. I mean, I hope to see more people trying to throw some hunts. As of right now, for our state, me and you are the only ones I know that's throwing any squirrel hunts.
Yeah, I don't know anyone else. Every once in a while, they'll do the UKC World, in North Georgia. But yeah, I enjoy seeing these clubs having them. And just like at our last hunt, I think we had 3 kids that showed up for the hunt. And we keep a box of stuff for the kids. Like last time, we were able to give all the kids a new dog leash.
Mm-hmm.
I feel like if we make it important to them and they have fun, they're going to be the ones that are coming back to these hunts when you and I aren't able to do it anymore.
Exactly. And right now, I'm not real. You could say I'm not a club. I mean, I'm throwing them here at my house. Don't
Right.
got a clubhouse or anything. I'm opening up my house for these people. Hey, come on in, fill out the paperwork, sit down on the couch, sit around. There's waters in the fridge. I'm trying to help the sport grow. I ain't got a big building for everybody to come hang out and everything like that. But I'm trying to help the sport grow is what I'm trying to do.
Yeah.
To get some more people up here in the area trying to do it. And I hope to see more people trying to throw some hunts. I thought it was going to be a difficult process, man, but my first hunt, it went so smooth. My biggest fear was messing up some of the paperwork for the new members or the new dog entries. Smooth as could be.
Yeah, that's great. And we just had a hunt like 2 weeks ago. I think I had, let's see, altogether our club, we had 10 dogs for the squirrel. We only had 4 for the coon, but that's okay. We had 6 for the treeing contest, and we had 10 for the bench show.
That's a nice turnout, man. And I feel like a lot of people, they're not. You'll have the serious hunters, September, October, but I feel like when the leaves are off and the hunting is good, all of us are going to have really good turnouts because you get more people coming out because you can find the squirrels a little easier. Dogs ain't getting burned up. You ain't got to worry about the snakes and everything like that as well.
That's right. Yeah, the cooler weather definitely brings out more people to our hunts. And this hunt we had a few weeks ago, I mean, really one of the best parts about it was that night before the coon hunt started. We had a guy pull up, and him and his son get out. And the building that we're in used to be an old restaurant. So sometimes people that say ate there 20 years ago, they stop while we're there and they think the restaurant's back open. So we figured he was bringing his son in to eat. He knocks on the door and he comes in and he said, I just read something that y'all are having a hunt. And he said, I don't know anything about squirrel hunting, but I want to get this boy right here a dog one day and just wanted to talk to us. So anyway, he talked to several of the guys there and he got ready to leave and we invited him to come out with us. Well, and then that turned into one of our members said, hey, I got a young dog. If it's for that boy right there, I'll give it to him. All you got to do is come get it. So that was just one of the highlights of the hunt.
That's what it's all about right there, man. Getting the youth involved is what makes me happy with everything. I like taking my son, my nephew. I took some of my friends' children, and just watching their faces walk up on a dog tree, and man, Makes my heart happy. That's all I can say. Put the smile on my face. Just the joy of seeing a young kid get out in the woods and be able to enjoy what we enjoy.
That's right. And my kids, which I have one in college, one in high school, they don't go with me near as much as they used to because they have other obligations. But the thing about squirrel hunting, especially with dogs and kids, is it's not like deer or turkey hunting or fishing. You're not in the same spot. You're moving around. You don't have to be quiet. They can run, jump, kick, scream, jump on logs. They can, I mean, I take a bunch of kids. I've got a buddy that's got a hunting club down in middle Georgia. And once a year, we go down to his club in February. And there'll be anywhere, normally, say 6 to 10 kids. And they bring them down just for that weekend. And we have the best time. Just going through the woods, just letting them be boys, shooting squirrels out, laughing, joking. I mean, it's a fun thing to do.
Oh yeah, I mean it gets the kids outside. It gets them away from the TV and the tablets, and um, it helps young boys mature, and even young ladies. Just getting them outside and seeing a different perspective, I guess you could say.
Oh yeah, absolutely. And I'm blessed. I mean, you're talking about ladies. My wife hunts with me, so she enjoys it. Um, and we're starting to see more women in the sport, which I think is great.
Mm-hmm. Well, let me ask you this. Kind of talking about getting the kids and everything involved. Is there? I've heard that some states do this. They'll get with their local DNR, and they'll have kids that sign up, and they'll like the DNR, and some hunters will actually take them out to do some squirrel hunting for a day or a weekend. Is there any kind of programs like that our state does or anything?
Yeah, we have programs like that throughout the state, such as that. Our agency also puts on special hunts. They have one coming up in a few weeks for disabled kids, which I think is wonderful.
Mm-hmm.
And they also, sometimes during turkey season, they'll put on special hunts where the game warden actually go out with, say, the child and his father and kind of mentor them and assist them. So, yeah, our agency does a really good job with that.
That's interesting. I didn't know if our state did anything like that. I know I've got some buddies in Mississippi and Tennessee that their DNR agency, they'll get out, get some dog men, get a couple DNR agents out, and they'll actually take kids hunting and everything.
Yeah, and just like the county I live in, the game warden, he had put on the Polk County. He does a kids fishing rodeo, and we do those all throughout the state.
Mm-hmm.
And a lot of those are during the summertime, and they're just really neat to see. The one that we have local here, we normally have about 500 kids that come to it.
Is that a trout fishing rodeo? Is that what y'all are doing?
So the one here is catfish, and then there's one not far from us that is trout.
Yeah, see, we used to have one of those up here in Jasper at one of our local creeks, and I think the city and the local DNR is what put that together. It is a trout fishing day. I got to take my son twice and my nephew before they quit doing it, man. And boy, them kids are enjoying it. You see those kids lined up on the bank just catching fish, man. It was a ball.
Oh, yes, great. That's just what it's all about.
Exactly. I still remember going with my dad when I was a little kid. Just memories, man. Making memories, So, but buddy, we've been going about 45 minutes. Give your club a shout one more time. Give your hunt dates out. I want to try to get y'all some more spotlight out here. I'm not a big podcast, but I know some people listen, and maybe some of the listeners will ride out there and come hunt with you in some this year. Yeah,
so check us out on Facebook. Like I said, I posted it on the original Mountain Cur and the CBA official page. Treat Mountain Squirrel Coon Club. We got our Georgia State hunt coming up November 16th. I've got our deadlines posted, entrance fee, as far as also the directions on how to get there. We'd love to have you. We've got probably have a handful of people that come that don't even hunt, but they're going to spectate, see what's going on. If you're interested, please reach out to us. Come down, spend a few hours, spend the day. We'd love to have you. Reach out to anyone in the club. We're just going to have a fun day on November 16th and hope some of you will come join us.
Yeah. I'm going to try my best to get out there with you. I'm going to try to bring some of this equipment and just come hang out. My dog ain't ready to be hunting, but I'm going to try to come hang out with you for a little while. So,
man, that'll be great. We'll look forward to it. And I just want to I just want to tell everyone deer season's ramping up for the next month as far as the rut going. So if you're going to be in the woods with your dogs, just be super careful, be mindful of where the boundaries are. Make sure that you stay on your property. Make sure you have your hunting license, wearing your orange. And I hope everyone has a good, safe, and fun hunting season.
Yes, sir. Daniel, we appreciate you getting on here and talking to us for a little while, buddy. I really enjoyed it. I hope y'all have a great turnout at your hunt. Like I said, I hope I'm going to be able to make it. Come hang out with you for a little while.
Well, you too, brother. It's good talking to you. Thanks for having me, and I'll talk to you soon.
Yes, sir, buddy. You enjoy your night.
All right, you too.